Hi, I'm Tim Schafer, the president of Double Fine Productions, makers of Brutal Legend, here to answer some questions on game.co.uk.
Out of the light comes a roadie.
September will be my 20th year in the games industry, I just realized. That's how old I am. I started in 1989, just out of college. I studied computer science at UC Berkeley, and then I miraculously happened to walk into the career center there and see a job at LucasArts, which was called Lucasfilm Games at the time. And I started working there right out of school, and the first thing I worked on was The Secret of Monkey Island. I wrote dialogue for that. And Grim Fandango followed after that. And then I left LucasArts and started my own company, Double Fine Productions, and we made Psychonauts in 2005, and now we're on our second game in Brutal Legend. 2 games in 10 years, that's not bad, right? I'm trying to remember that dialogue. I didn't write that dialogue in Monkey Island 2, and I was complaining about it for a while because it was really long for a long time, and we're like, we have to cut down the woodchuck dialogue because it's going on forever. I think eventually it did get edited down quite a bit, but I don't even remember the answer. I think a woodchuck would cut. I don't remember.
Armed with the power of metal and destined to become a legend.
I've never been disappointed in any game that I made. I've always wanted to achieve certain things. I've always been just extremely happy with how they came out and really felt lucky that I got to make them, and also feel really happy with the connection they make with fans. Like when people come up at signings or something like that, they're dressed as the characters from the games. It's really nice to know that you've been able to make that kind of, make something that someone cares about is really rewarding. I mean, it's the biggest, most ambitious game I've ever made. It's got the deepest sort of gameplay mechanics, the most different types of gameplay, and it's really hard to balance things like physics and combat and driving and all these things that have to work together. So we really started with the gameplay first and built out from that and worked on the story as we went, as opposed to previous games where you work on the world and the story first, and the gameplay would come from that.
Out of the darkness comes an evil that will destroy us all.
At first it was tricky because people had thought that Rock was dead. Because heavy metal album covers have all sorts of crazy medical equipment and religious icons mixed in with blood and gore, and then sometimes lasers. And then the very first Guitar Hero game came out, and it seemed to it had Black Sabbath on it and Megadeth, and people were like rediscovering it. As I think every generation always rediscovers heavy metal because it speaks to certain things about being a teenager that are always true, like the feelings of being alienated or isolated. Heavy metal, talks about that a lot, and so that made it a lot easier to push the game.
Not sure, but I like how that sounds.
Starring Jack Black as Eddie.
It was insane being the only people we met on this game. At a certain point, once we really picked up steam, once we had Jack in the game and Ozzy, I did just start to think about well, who else do I want to meet? Who'd be good in the game? I think we should have Lemmy and Rob Halford, and I was like, secretly I'm going to bring all my albums to the studio and get them all signed, because it was like, instead of just looking at it objectively as a game developer, I was also a huge fan, and I just wanted to get my album signed, and it was amazing because I still have the vinyl that I bought when I was a teenager, and bringing it to the studio and having Ozzy sign the actual first album I ever bought, which was Diary of a Madman, and have him explain to me what all the little runes on the cover mean, and it was just an amazing experience. And he was just, I think each one of them was actually there were no prima donnas. There was a joy to work with. I'd never worked with anyone as a celebrity before, and so we just, when we were talking about the character and who he was and what he cares about, where he loves music, he really cares about rock, like that character in School of Rock, and also Jack Black seems to really understand that whole thing about rock music being both just really serious and awesome, but also really ridiculous in a good way, and that was perfect for the character. But then when we came down to cast him, we were like, we don't want to get Jack Black's sound alike. And then someone told us that Jack Black had played Psychonauts and liked it. And he played all the way through, and then we're like, wow, maybe we should call him and ask for a meeting. We got a meeting, and I went down to LA with his binder full of concept art and laid it all out and told him about this heavy metal fantasy world, and he said he wanted to do it right now. He takes over the world. First Vacation, and then Secret New Projects. We don't know yet. I mean, we had a lot of different ideas that were kicking off, and a lot of people at the company, you know, Double Fine has a lot of creative people there, and a lot of different ideas are bubbling to the surface, and we'll just have to see.
Great.
No, I forgot to look at the camera the whole time. Hi.
Are you the keeper of the sacred beer tree? Dream job.